Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar, Digital and AI-Powered Supply Chain Productivity, Unilever's Perspective. We are excited you could join us. My name is Laura Thiesel, and I'll be getting us started today. We are thrilled to be joined today by a panel of supply chain leaders who will take us through the journey of how Unilever has leveraged artificial intelligence to revolutionize its supply chain operations and enhance productivity. You'll learn how Unilever established the robust data foundation intrinsic to supply chain transformation and how AI can drive substantial improvements in operational efficiency, productivity, consumer satisfaction, and environmental sustainability. Now, before we begin, I just want to go over a few housekeeping items. At the bottom of your screen are multiple application widgets you can use. Now, all the widgets are resizable and movable, so feel free to move them around to get the most out of your desktop space. Please note the slides will advance automatically throughout the presentation. To enlarge the slides, click the Enlarge Slides button located in the top right-hand corner of your presentation window. Now, we encourage you to submit questions at any time throughout the presentation using the Q&A widget at the bottom of your console. Now, we will try to answer these during the webcast, but if a fuller answer is needed or we just run out of time, it will be answered later via email. So please know that we do capture all your questions, and you are welcome to go ahead and submit those as you think of them throughout the presentation today. All right, with that, we're ready to get started. And leading our conversation today is our guest speaker, Michele Goetz, who is the Vice President and Principal Analyst for Forrester Research. Now, Michele has over 20 years of experience in data management, business intelligence, and analytics. In her current role, she serves enterprise architects, chief data officers, and business analysts trying to navigate the complexities of data while running an insight-driven business. Her research covers artificial intelligence technologies and consultancies, semantic technology, data management strategy, data governance, and data integration. So welcome, Michele, and I'll hand it over to you to introduce our panelist.
Great. Thank you so much. It's great to be here. So today what I'd like to do is welcome our esteemed supply chain leaders from the top 10 CPGs. Thank you for joining us today. And today's discussion delves into the transformative potential of AI within your complex world. We're going to be joined today by two excellent members within your community coming from Unilever. First, Dannie Lemmens, who is the Unilever Supply Chain Strategy Director, and Saurabh Verma, Unilever Supply Chain Data and Analytics Director. And we are also joined by Sagar Balan, Chief Business Officer for CPG at Tredence. So together, they'll share insights on unlocking significant productivity gains with AI, while also navigating the critical steps for successful implementation. So let's get started. Uh-oh. I apologize. Blipped. Okay. So let's get started. So I'm going to point this over to Sagar first. From a CPG supply chain perspective, the only thing that doesn't ever change is disruption. So Sagar, based on your industry experience, what are some underlying obstacles that hinder companies from responding swiftly? And, can they ever really become anti-fragile?
No, absolutely. Disruption just stopped our quick start there too, right? But jokes apart, disruption is a constant, and it comes in various forms for CPGs and retailers alike. You just go back 3 years and look at what we've had to endure, right? Weather, man-made wars, social media virality, especially for beauty industry, right? Competitive moves, retailer moves, and so on. And there are many challenges which actually prevent a swift response from the CPGs to be able to detect the event and then predict a suitable response to the event, and then finally execute the response in the real physical world. today, from our observations, the best firms in the industry can only react in about 6 to 8 weeks of lead time. And disruption only seems to increase. So, yes, we have to figure ways to become anti fragile, and there are ways to do it at best 1 to 2 weeks or at least 3 to 4 weeks. Now, to your question on why the lack of swiftness, boils down to two major factors. One, of course, the physical world delays at each step of the plan make source deliver process where CPGs are investing significant amounts of capex. And two, our world, which is the big trade-off of compute costs versus the scalability and granularity. How do you manage that? Those are usually the two big roadblocks.
Yeah, absolutely. And you brought up the supply chain issues that have happened within India. We're dealing with a lot of supply chain issues right now globally that's affecting all of our supply chain. So, absolutely that physical world, but we certainly have our infrastructure challenges as well to have a cost-effective way to manage that. So it makes a whole lot of sense. But maybe, Danny and Saurabh, what are some of the notable disruptions you faced at Unilever, and how have you been able to respond to those effectively? Danny, do you want to start?
Thanks, Michelle. Very happy to be here today to speak about how we use AI within Unilever to power operations and drive productivity. Indeed, in the dynamic landscape of supply chain, uncertainty is a constant companion. As seasoned professionals, we've all witnessed and navigated extreme volatility and disruptive events, especially in the last 4 years. Research highlights that during periods of uncertainty, most organizations experience. What sets apart the resilient or anti-fragile view is their ability to adapt swiftly and spot signals within the Unilever developed a digitally powered resilience framework. This framework leverages the power of AI to achieve two critical objectives: strengthening our resilience. Our goal is to enhance end-to-end resilience across our core strategic portfolio by fortifying our operations structurally. The second objective is fueling sustainable growth. The framework helps us to avoid turnover losses and crisis management costs triggered by those disruptions. Our framework relies on data analytics and seamless digital integration, enabling near real-time risk visibility, predictive insights, and impact analysis through digital twin technology. One of our early successes was the virtual ocean control tower, providing real-time visibility of all containers at sea along with their precise vessel locations. This capability proved invaluable during the Suez Canal blockage, allowing us to promptly redirect the affected vessels, containers, and cargo. Let me hand over now to my colleague Saurabh, who will give some more examples in this space.
Thank you, Danny. Very happy to be here. And just to build on the digital resilience framework that Danny referred to, I would like to share a real-life example to bring it to life. So there was a situation where our procurement team identified over-dependency on one of the critical ingredient supplier. And they also identified the risk of the supplier going insolvent. And that could have posed a significant turnover risk for Unilever globally. Yeah. And what was immediately required was to be able to identify the impact that this supplier has on Unilever's turnover, and also to be able to identify what are the different proactive actions that can be taken to be able to absorb that impact, and what of those actions could be optimal action. So that was a problem. And as simple as it is said, but it's a mammoth task to get the data from across Unilever. So remember, a supplier that supplies this key ingredient across Unilever in different sourcing units. So getting the data across Unilever and being able to identify the impact on turnover was a mammoth task. Further, in order to be able to do some scenario planning on what could be the most optimal option to be able to absorb this risk was next to impossible without any digital tool. So understand the impact of the current inventory, the demand, seasonality, different countries, lead time. It was absolutely impossible to do this kind of scenario planning. Now, this could have easily taken weeks of effort. Now, this is where the digital twin powered by Graph that we have built recently came to rescue. And it was able to give us the visibility of the turnover impact within hours. And that too, we were able to run certain scenarios on what could be the best cost optimal proactive mitigation action, that mitigating action that can be done that will be able to resolve this disruption if at all it happens, and all within hours. Yeah. So this is one example on how the digital twin powered by data and analytics and by the leading technology of graph helped us to be able to, you know, to be able to be prepared for any disruption. And and further, this was also supported by a risk mitigation platform, because once we decide what action needs to be taken, it also needs to be executed. And that is where our risk mitigation platform helped in the execution in the timely manner. Yeah? So that was an example. And the learning is, while it might be tricky and very complex to predict disruptions, I think we cannot predict and forecast disruption in this world. Yeah. But what we can definitely do is, with the help of digital tools, map our entire supply chain and be able to identify where are our weak links, vulnerabilities, and in those weak links, we can strengthen our network, as Danny said, and be able to be prepared for any disruption that might happen. And this, coupled with a very effective real-time visibility at an operational level, cross-functional collaboration, and an alert and responsive sales and operation execution system, is definitely some of the things that help us a lot when it comes to resolving any disruption. Yeah, back to you, Michele.
Yeah, no, thank you for sharing that. I think the thing that really struck me was, being able to use this digital twin and simulate these different scenarios. You're connecting the dots between what do you do from a strategic planning function to what happens from an operational management function to how are you handling sort of the ships at sea aspect. So it's tying those things together. And I like how you also brought in, responsiveness on sales, because you're also starting to, de-silo parts of your organization so that there's visibility across and you can be more agile, wherever you are within the organization. It's such a powerful example. Maybe we'll shift a little bit, because we know that, it all goes down to data. And the question is it a problem or is it a solution? And there's some recent Wall Street Journal reports that are talking about that the value of AI has been overestimated. And in the face of such constant disruption, it doesn't help if AI is a solution seeking a problem and a suboptimal solution at that. So where is the problem in your point of view, Sagar? Does this resonate with you, or do you have a different perspective?
No, absolutely. I mean, look, there are going to be naysayers, and for good reason, right? Because we have seen firms who are able to realize value from AI, and there are those who don't. We've observed both sides of the equation, right? So there is actually a trade-off there, and we've helped clients navigate it. Having a unified data foundation, which has a certified data model, which is well governed, there's continuous data quality improvement, continuously enriched with newer sources of data. If you get all of those right, that's a key mode. But the big challenge with that is, the data model investment often takes, time for value realization. So you have to be able to balance executing on use cases, at the same time invest in the data modeling and the data engineering. That is the tightrope to walk on. If you're able to do that tightrope walk well enough, then in fact, supply chain is the best domain for walking this tightrope, because the savings or the revenue uplift created by AI can be very clearly measured. That's what we are observing as the big differentiator, mission.
Mm-hmm. And when you talk about that data model, it seems like you're covering different things. So, maybe correct me if I'm wrong. It's as much about how do you model the data within the system so that it's usable, ready and usable. But on the other hand, you also have to think about the domain and how that domain is defined in the way that you use that data, or you describe your data, that semantic component, so that you can interact with that information and make it useful for you. Does that resonate? Does that seem to make sense here?
Yeah, I think one additional dimension I would add from a CPG perspective is CPG businesses are global. So let's say you have an order to cash process, and let's say you're building a data model for something in Greece, and then you have a reporting or a predictive solution for that particular country. CPGs would often like to see, is that data model which feeds the predictive or the reporting model extensible, at least in similar archetype countries globally, right? So rather than you building up the data foundation incrementally for every country, it would be better if you build a scalable data model and then which feeds the predictive and the analytical solution. So that scalability angle is a big, important feature for CPGs, and that is sometimes challenging.
Yeah, no, that well-governed piece of driving a standard and getting to consistency is definitely a big challenge, but also a big opportunity. Danny and Saurabh, that brings, sort of a good segue to reflect about your experiences at Unilever. So when has AI in the supply chain delivered value and when has it not? And how much of it is driven by the underlying data foundation and the investments within that? So what is Unilever's vision?
Yeah, thanks, Michelle. Let me first give my views and then hand over to Saurabh for his perspective on the underlying data foundations and investments. So in October 2023, we launched our growth action plan with the goal of consistently achieving high quality top line growth ahead of our markets. As supply chain, we play a crucial role in driving productivity and simplicity gains through our ongoing digital transformation program. Currently, we have 400 AI systems deployed across the business. And in key areas such as demand planning, sourcing, and customer experience, we've successfully implemented AI initiatives at scale, delivering the expected return on investments. One standout use case for AI is our portfolio simplification tool, Polaris. Polaris streamlines our assortment, reducing complexity and driving growth. By integrating governance, big data, and AI, Polaris provides a single source of truth and continuous tracking for our sales, supply chain, and marketing teams. This empowers faster and more confident decision-making. Additionally, Polaris governance and automated tracking of the listing stages enhances accountability for the listing execution, a capability that didn't exist previously. Through the Polaris program, we have been able to achieve a double-digit percentage reductions in our SKUs. Over to Saurabh now.
Thanks, Danny. So as Danny shared a few examples, clearly the scope, number, and the impact of AI systems are increasing exponentially. And as we all have seen, AI has advanced from classic machine learning to deep learning to recently generative AI. In supply chain, we believe that the combination of these systems will unlock significant productivity gains through autonomous operations, and it will build us a competitive growth through intelligent decisions. Now, what we have done in Unilever is we have created an AI framework to accelerate our journey. The framework is governed at an organization leadership level with the support of AI Center of Excellence and AI Assurance. And we have clearly crafted two-pronged strategy here, which we call as go wide and go deep, to be able to fully leverage the power of AI. Under go wide, we harness the power of productivity presented by AI at Unilever scale. This includes digital assistants like Copilot, employees upskilling, AI Center of Excellence, tech and data foundations. And under Go Deep, we work on a high impact, on multiple high impact AI opportunities to drive competitive edge, and how it can help us to achieve our growth action plan. And some of the examples that Danny already spoke about. And we believe in the approach of agile experimentation, learn from it and scaling up the selected few use cases for high business impact. And further to what Danny spoke regarding 400 AI systems deployed, we have around 200 AI systems in ideation and piloting stage at the moment. And this is where I would like to reflect on a critical component that goes on supporting AI systems, which is our data foundations. And I would like to share our journey towards achieving this world-class data foundation. We started a couple of years ago with the vision to build a strong foundation for a best-in-class data foundation, which currently serves as a strong foundation to bring in data from multiple sources of truth. So a data that is trusted, reusable, and which is secured by design. Over the years, we have ingested over 8 petabytes of data with over 25,000 real-time data pipelines and over 200 sources of different systems. And this robust data ecosystem and this comprehensive scale is powering numerous analytical products and AI capabilities for competitive edge. Back to you, Michele.
Yeah, no, great for sharing that. It really provides some of the detail, and not only in what you're doing, how that's tying to where your growth strategies are, but really seeing where AI starts to insert itself and gains from the investments within that data foundation. Maybe we'll shift over to sort of another view, which is, and this is near and dear to my heart because as a boater, I'm always watching for the big rocks. So let's get beyond some of those big rocks. Even before AI came into the picture, there's been ERPs and advanced planning systems, APS. And while APS and ERP systems are essential, AI really offers the power to really go deeper. And, Sagar, I'm just wondering, your research highlights the importance of identifying these white space problems. Maybe you can help elaborate here on that concept and how AI helps CPGs unearth these hidden opportunities. And perhaps you can share some specific CPG examples where AI was leveraged to solve that white space problem and really driving towards improved performance metrics like inventory turns or operating margins.
Absolutely. So, and this is a favorite topic of mine, Michele. Thanks for asking, because this is a pattern we see across CPGs, because all CPGs, use pretty much one of 5 advanced planning systems and ERPs, right? And the goodness of that is that while everyone is brought up to the same standard, it also leaves very predictable and similar white spaces in every CPG, right? And the key white space, which makes a real tangible difference, which can make a real tangible difference to those metrics, are in the S&OE processes, where there is a definite opportunity to become very agile. For example, right? Can you plan and execute in weekly increments or maybe even daily increments, right? Can you forecast at a lane level for freights? Can you optimize your stock movements in the network in less than 5 days? Can you even service your customers every other day than maybe once in every 5 days, right? And many more across plan, make, source, and deliver, including warehouse, labor, so on and so forth. And then how do you coordinate and integrate each of these granular decisions? Now, the challenge is existing planning systems or ERPs are system of records most often and are not often suited to offer this precision at scale to a CPG. But now that is changing, right? We have built AI systems to plug these white spaces and unlock more than $100 million of annual impact on cash avoidance and revenue opportunity across the supply chain. I'll probably leave it to Dannie and Saurabh to bring more real life examples there, Michele.
Yeah, no, that's really interesting. It's almost like you're using AI now instead of just doing sort of the bigger block and tackle things, but you're starting to apply it into some really, complicated areas at the same time. That introducing it into that complexity is really where you start to see the gains, and it sort of kicks the flywheel in for your AI investments. Dannie and Saurabh, from your perspective, can you, talk about some of these white space problems at Unilever, and how has Unilever used AI to identify and address some of these opportunities within your own supply chain, and what impact did that have on your productivity metrics?
Yes,
Dannie,
as you can imagine in a business. Thank you. As you can imagine, in a business as large and complex as ours, implementing digital transformation presents its challenges. So our goal is to align these transformations with the needs of our business and, most importantly, our customers. One of the priorities of our customers is the rapid fulfillment. And through our Project Sky, we have taken joint business planning with our customers to new heights. By breaking down traditional barriers between supply chains, we've created a collaborative ecosystem that spans from suppliers to customers. Leveraging existing technology platforms and combining them with customer data and AI, we've built an end-to-end solution. Our model has been successfully piloted with one of Unilever's largest customers, Walmart, in Mexico. Now we're industrializing and expanding this approach across different regions and customers. Deepening partnerships with key customers has been crucial to our success. Unprecedented amounts of data are exchanged between us and our customers. AI processes these data for production and short-term demand planning on our end, as well as promotion and logistics planning on the customer's end. The results speak for themselves. Unilever benefits from sales growth, improved supply chain efficiency, agility, and resilience. And our customers enjoy better supplier availability for their shoppers, optimize store inventory, and increase operational and distribution savings. Saurabh, anything to add there from your perspective?
Thanks, Danny. Surely. So what we have seen is, traditionally ERPs, advanced planning optimization systems, they work quite well in their respective function. What we also acknowledge is that the real power of data and AI lies in connecting these different systems or these different functions and be able to build a connected decision intelligence that integrates the cross-functional interactions. So what we did is we identified the top business problems, as you call, white space problems and opportunities in our operations that has the biggest impact, and scaled AI in real time to solve these problems. We have deployed over 12 such cross-functional decision automation skills across market over the last couple of years. We have built machine learning-based capability to generate primary sales volume forecast based on internal and external factors. Our cost to serve capability enables activity-based logistics cost transparency, but at a SKU, channel, customer level. And this really helps us in driving the performance of logistics cost in our network. And last but not the least is to mention the foundation of real-time visibility and analytics, the capability that gives us an end-to-end view of supply chain performance and insights. And this helps us in driving targeted performance improvement measures. This helps the end users to take data-oriented decisions. And this capability in itself is being used at the time by over 8,000 supply chain end users with nearly 1 million views every month. And this definitely helps in unlocking over 20% of efficiency. So indeed, there are a lot of white space problems, opportunities which cannot be solved by ERPs and advanced planning and optimization systems, which is where data and AI play a very strong role.
No, thank you both for sharing. Yeah, no, thank you both for sharing that. I mean, I think, Danny, the thing that I took away and sort of how you closed it is, I love how you sort of prioritize your customers first. It's all about how do you get your products and create value even for them, not just thinking about how you're managing your supply chain. And as you look at the system that's being built underneath, it's really thinking about how do you interlock where your organization is working in these ERP and advanced planning systems, and then really using the data and the AI to, yes, plug that white space, but at the same time, amplifying how we work through productivity, where we work. It's really fascinating to see all these pieces coming together. But maybe we can, start looking at how do we start to close the integration loop. And, something that, that comes up is like, once AI generates valuable recommendations, now the true magic really starts to happen. You can start to see these seeds being planted earlier when they seamlessly integrate with existing systems. So Danny and Saurabh, how crucial is it for AI solutions to integrate back into those ERPs and APS? In your experience, what are some considerations for ensuring that there's a smooth handover of those recommendations into those business processes? And what do you see as the wider productivity impact? Danny, do you want to start?
Yes, so as Saurabh already mentioned, in 2019, we started our journey with the AI tools to help us improve automated tasks and improve decision-making across our operations. Some specific examples are, for example, the dynamic norm adjustments. We adjust our standards based on real-time business factor. This helps us to improve service while keeping inventories low. Stock rebalancing by optimizing stock distribution within our network. We've seen 15 basis point improvement in service. On warehouse capacity, our system recommends short-term and mid-term actions to prevent warehouse capacity issues, reducing logistics waste. And we've also automated the waste identification without manual interventions. So overall, these advancements move us closer to a fully autonomous supply chain system. But I will let Saurabh also comment on this question.
Thank you, Danny. And as you know, Danny spoke about the decision automation skill. I want to give a flavor to it. These skills over the last 1 year has generated more than 1 million recommendations for Unilever, and which has over 65% acceptance rate. And the good thing to see here is that more than half of these recommendations were autonomous. So there was no human involvement, and it were pushed to our execution systems, leading to the execution. So indeed, there is a lot of opportunity in automating our decisions and being able to integrate these decisions back to the core system of execution. Now, I would also like to further build upon the application of larger application of AI for productivity. And when we speak about productivity, we also speak about other than human productivity, how does the different components of our cost elements impact our P&L? And we believe that in order to accelerate our productivity mission, we need to build digital transformation that will be very critical for competitive and sustainable growth. And one of the important capabilities to meet this objective that we recently built was on how to link all the financial metrics to the operational metrics as one version of truth. And this highlights the different areas at an operational level that can be solved and improved upon, which will lead to further improvement in productivity. And our AI-enabled digital factory capabilities like asset twin, predictive maintenance, automated process control, video analytics, these are enabling efficiency and productivity improvement, waste reduction at the factory level. Further, I want to stress upon we have built an AI capability with Tredence here, and this helps us a lot in accelerating our journey towards cost saving. It benchmarks our product cost components, the supply chain cost components across Unilever, and it applies AI to identify the opportunities on increasing the material productivity. This is helping our cross-functional team to accelerate the savings citation process and also automate a lot of decisions. So indeed, there are a lot of areas where we have built the capabilities and further integrated it to our source systems where it can be executed seamlessly. Back to you, Michele.
Yeah, Saurabh, those are just such excellent points. Sagar, from your industry perspective, can you share any best practices, cautionary tales regarding AI integration and within CPG supply chains? And by tying it back to that integration loop, do you think we are months away from seeing an autonomous supply chain system with human out of the loop?
Yeah, no, well, Saurabh, thanks for the call out to Tredence there. Now, with respect to your question, Michele, look, supply chain and procurement businesses have been run by experts. Saurabh said 8,000 end users at Unilever, right? They've been run by these experts for many, many years. Now, with due respect to them, it'll take a fair amount of change management effort to actually create autonomous supply chain systems, right? Because that requires us to blend the business process expertise, which are in the minds and hearts of these 8,000 folks. And I use the word minds and hearts because there are decisions which these folks have learned to take, which the systems couldn't take over many, many years based on their observations of the market. We have to understand the nuances of those processes and the decision making, which have been going on for years on end, right? And we have to be realistic that some of these decisions are still going to be made by humans, right? And where human judgment is absolutely critical, at times I would keep science fiction out of it. So I would say it's a journey. We are there, starting to move there in terms of autonomous supply chains, but I don't think there would ever be a time where it would be completely human out of the loop. Maybe in some small components, yes, and we'll have to keep pushing the envelope on that.
No, thanks, Sagar. Saurabh, what's your point of view on that?
So indeed, so as Sagar spoke, we believe it is a journey. And this journey starts with the foundation, what we call as human in the loop, where human take decisions based on the data. And then it transcends into what we call as human on the loop, which is where decisions are taken by machine, but it is augmented by human, it is monitored by human, it is controlled by human. And eventually it goes on to the most matured stage where we call it as human out of the loop. And these are the autonomous systems where machines take autonomous decisions for execution without the involvement from human. And the role of human over here is to design the algorithm, control the algorithm, and make sure that this algorithm meets the purpose and the business impact. I believe that we have we have indeed covered a long distance here and matured for foundation. We built the end-to-end capabilities for data visibility, which is helping our end users to take the right decisions, which is data-driven. We are quite maturing to intelligent systems with tools like forecasting, customer connectivity, as Danny spoke about, decision automation skills, which is moving us towards human out of the loop. But I would say that there are a lot of areas where we still have human who are augmenting the decisions. And slowly in certain pockets, we are seeing that with the machine learning, with the past data and the business impact, we are moving towards going more and more human out of the loop and autonomous integration. So this is where the data and AI is helping in terms of connecting end-to-end supply chain and moving from a more a manual data-driven decision to more of a machine-based data-driven decision. And to achieve success, it's indeed very critical to prioritize data hygiene, ensure that there is interpretation of the result, and we need to optimize journey. And we believe that focusing on these areas did definitely help us in advancing in this journey much faster.
Yeah, no, thank you for that. Because I mean, it's interesting. There's human in the loop, human on the loop. There's, human out of the loop. But I think really what you're describing here, and what I liked what you said is that it may be AI based, but it isn't AI replacement. There's always this balance and thinking about a system as holistic, and it's always going to be humans and machines in control, finding that optimal point to get the best results for your organization. Sagar, you mentioned something early on when we were looking at this in the integration points, which is winning hearts and minds at the last mile. And finally, the most sophisticated AI solution is only as effective as its user base. And Sagar, your expertise certainly sheds light on the importance of winning over decision makers, those who translate AI insights into those real world actions and ultimately results. So why is operational expertise so critical in this stage? And how do CPG companies foster that adoption at scale? How do you measure it, record that value? How do you really make sure that this is key to adoption?
No, great question there, Michelle. We use design thinking, especially the aspect of how do you immerse yourself, especially at the beginning and throughout the program, to achieve a head start in this regard, right? Involving operations in the AI implementation. Folks from the operations who've been doing this for years on end is extremely critical. We have a select set of folks from the industry in Tredence as well who help them do it, who partner with their counterparts in customers such as Unilever to achieve this, right? Their understanding of the day-to-day challenges, the Excel sheets which they've been using for years on end, the people, the processes, how they've been able to tweak that and make things work, how they've been able to do all of that to help their respective CPGs achieve that market share. That helps us tailor AI solutions for practical use. So what we do is, in order to reduce the disbelief in AI or to prevent an AI project from failing, in about 5 to 6 weeks of the start of a use case, we start to demonstrate early success that, hey, look, this is working. That sort of progress over perfection mindset has really helped us. So that's point number one. The second, I would say, important thing is, how do you continuously demonstrate clear ROI, right from the problem definition stage to each of those incremental sprints where you demonstrate that, yes, this is starting to work. That is key. Focusing on quantifiable benefits like improved efficiency, cost savings, that really helps get buy-in across the organization. It is also essential to scale up AI to demonstrate that precision at scale and for the network effects to kick in. If we just stop at pilots and MVPs, soon after a while, people start branding you, as such in the organization, right? Finally, I would say change management. How do you educate and empower decision makers on using AI effectively in the last mile? How do you address their concerns and build trust? There is a particular case I still recall This particular individual was, has been using an order management solution for over 30 years. And, the first time we developed the AI solution for that person, obviously it was a change management effort. He did not like that his old ways of working was going to change. And, when we first sent out a CSAT after about 4 months of the program rollout, he gave us a 5 on 10, and we were disappointed. But we took it on our chin, and we worked with him, told him the advantages of using it, made sure that this particular person's job was not at risk, and then actually how did it improve, right? Real tangible metric improvement in the benefits. We turned him around, brought him on to a 10 on 10 on CSAT. We take great pride in that. Zooming out, there is an old adage, which is that, customers, often internal customers as well, right? Cry loud and clap soft. That's just human behavior. We had to actively combat that and market the success internally well for our customers, for the flywheel of AI to kick in, Michele.
Yeah. No, it's interesting. It's like if I were to sum that up, it's almost like, well, if you're going to involve operations in the AI implementation, they're actually building it. They're part of that creation process. So they're now sort of vested in making sure that it's working the way that they want. Demonstrating clear ROI ensures that, the what's in it for me type of scenario. What are they gold on? What are they bonused on? Those sorts of things. So there's a vested interest that's reinforced. And then the change management just becomes part of culture. It makes it easier to transition. And, if you've been part of the process and you know where you're going, you're already learning and going through the process of change, so that when it's time to adopt the capability and use AI in your work, it feels a little bit more natural, and you start to de-friction that a little bit. It's just such a great way of describing, how to go about this. Dannie and Saurabh, how has Unilever ensured that your supply chain teams are equipped to handle and implement AI-driven recommendations? And, could you share any specific strategies you've used to foster that adoption or bridge the gap between the data and operational expertise? Dannie, would you like to start?
Yes, thanks, Michele. That's a great question. As I mentioned earlier, people and their mindset have been central to our digital transformation program right from the start. We all know that transformations can fail. And our research has highlighted that the importance of involving people, as Sagar also already mentioned, helping them understand how technology empowers them and showcasing new opportunities. Senior leadership also plays a crucial role by fostering psychological safety. And that foundation allows users to trust the process, validate autonomous decisions gradually, and become more comfortable with the AI-generated recommendations. Ultimately, this leads to greater automation of decisions. To drive adoptions, we're closely collaborating with our teams. For instance, we're organizing an AI bootcamp for our planning teams. This program aims to create internal AI and machine learning experts who can read, interpret, and modify algorithms in their business applications. These experts will then champion the technology and drive adoption within the organization. But Saurabh can explain a little bit more on this topic.
Yeah, thank you, Dannie. And just to build on what Dannie spoke, we are creating a culture of upskilling through multiple pan-Unilever programs under our Go Wide strategy of AI. And we have so far upskilled over 15,000 employees on AI through programs like DG Challenge, Learning Labs, Learning Sessions. And we have created a very vibrant community of over 5,000 employees in Viva Engage to exchange AI knowledge and best practices. And we believe certain roles require completion of license to operate to be able to deliver. So these are the different ways in which we have been in fact propagating the importance and upskilling of AI across Unilever at a mass scale. And we also recognize that the importance of operational expertise, and therefore digitally we have tried to bridge the gap between operational expertise and data through creation of the self-learning modules that could learn from the human touches from the past and the business impact, and could further fine-tune the decisions in the future. So this has led to an increase in no-touch autonomous operations, which is again very important to learn from the user interactions. Back to you, Michele.
Yeah, no, thank you. Thank you for sharing those thoughts and what you're doing to kind of up level and upskill within your own organization. Now we get to the fun part, which is, we've been doing a lot of Q&A internally with, some valuable experts, both at Tredence, but also at Unilever. Thank you very much. But what I'd like to do is open up the floor to audience questions so you can ask our esteemed panelists on their perspective. And really just remember, our goal is just to unlock the true potential of AI in your CPG supply chains. So don't hesitate to bring your own challenges, experiences, and, other burning questions to the table. And just remember, Sagar, Dannie, Saurabh bring valuable perspectives to this discussion, and feel free to just have a follow-up question or request further elaboration on any point in the webinar if you just need to go deeper or understand something a little bit more. It's, all about leveraging our ability to connect with these experts today. So what I'm going to do is start taking questions, and the first one is, for departments adopting AI and ML tools, do you have any tips to ensure users leverage the new tools instead of reverting back to legacy tools? And that makes me smile because I think, Sagar, you had mentioned, everybody, you're used to using your spreadsheets, which is, always at the end of the data and analytic lifeline. So maybe, Sagar, if you could start with that, and Saurabh, if you want to provide what Unilever had done to address this.
I'm happy to start off with that, and then Saurabh, you can chime in. Look, this is a classic problem as we are in this journey, right? And to be honest, when I run my own business, I used to run it with Excel sheets initially till my CFO developed a bunch of tools. And I was initially like, this is not going to work for me, right? And, I think I know my hack and I know how to make it work, and, I'm going to do this, right? But I think there is some amount of, a critical combination of, I would say, persistence, right? Don't give up that your tool is going to create value. That's one. Believe in your tool. Number two, create those small wins, right? When the opportunity presents itself, when, there are going to be enough opportunities in a complex business as you were, for you to demonstrate the value if you believe that the tool has hit the nail on its head. Right? And when those small wins start to kick in, right, then people start using that particular feature of the tool more and more, and then you start evangelizing that one feature to others, saying, hey, this works, so maybe do you want to try another feature, right? So it's a journey, and many times in enterprise B2B tools which we create, it's the curse of too much. It's like going into Starbucks today and asking, hey, what coffee do you want? It's hard to say, I just want a coffee, right? You have to say all the ingredients are there. That's how enterprise B2B tools tend to be built as well. And, and for good reason, because there are multiple users and each user has a particular feature they wanted into the tool. Now, how do you make sure they get the wins from each of those features? And over a period of time, all the features are at least 70-80% of the features of the tool are creating value for everyone, right? So that's the key trick there. Saurabh, anything from your experience there?
Yeah, no, so rightly. So to add to what you said, I think what I have learned is change management is a continuous process. It's not something that we change once and forget and expect people to keep using the tools. So there has to be a continuous change management process, a continuous way of communicating the importance of the digital tools to the end user. And also we have to continue to listen to our stakeholders and end users and continue to evolve the digital tools so that it is fit for the purpose, always and ever. And this is where I think some of the tricks and tips that has really helped us is, it has to be very clearly communicated to our, end users on the why part of the tool. There must be a pull for the digital tools. It doesn't work to push a digital tool, to an end user. So there has to be a natural pull from end users. And how do we create that pull? To me, if I am an end user, if I am told that this tool is going to help me achieve my goals at the end of the year and get my bonus, possibly I will look into that tool. If that tool convinces me, that I'll be able to do my work half an hour earlier in the evening and be able to spend more time, with my colleagues in office doing chit chat, or possibly, spend more time with kids after office. Possibly I will look into the tool. So there must be a very compelling story on what is in it for the tool to, for the end user. And this is very important, the why part. Many a times there is a strong why. However, we are not able to communicate the why to our end users, and therefore this communication, finding out all the opportunities, as Sagar said, creating those use cases, those success stories. Many a times it could be top driven, where the senior leadership gives a very clear and consistent messaging around in different forums on how this tool can help the people. These are different ways in which we can effectively communicate the why of the tool to our end users. But indeed, I would like to reiterate, it's a continuous process. It has to be done on a regular interval.
Thank you. Thank you. Danny, I want to maybe pass this over to you, and maybe Sagar, you can provide a little bit more color as well, which is, you've both mentioned that you're using a standard framework, which is under an AI competency center. So what are the elements of this framework?
Yeah, I think that is a good one for Saurabh to take. I think you were mentioning that, right?
Yeah, that's right. So so we have created an AI strategy, and this framework has multiple components. So we run a governance at a Unilever level. It is run by the leadership from an executive point of view, and it has the elements of our center of excellence. So we have AI center of excellence to work towards partnering with the leading innovators in the industry and working on some of the powerful business problems and how AI can help resolving those problems or addressing those problems. So this is about center of excellence. We also have an AI assurance, which is an important component of our AI governance. As you all might appreciate that the data has a lot of negative impact as well. It could be biased. We can see that there are a lot of examples where the AI-based systems were biased. There is a risk that we could violate on the privacy, as we talk about more and more about our customer and consumer data. And we know that there is a lot of regulations which is coming recently, and therefore building a transparent and a responsible data-based AI system is very important. And this is where we have the impact of AI assurance within the governance. So this is a central governance which is run, and as I said, it works on the strategy of going wide, with making sure that Unilever at a wider scale is trained on AI, and also going deep on identifying all the use cases, impactful use cases that could have impact at scale. So that is about our AI framework.
Yeah, and that's maybe great. I'll give a different flavor to that, Michele, if that works.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so I actually view this in 3 dimensions. One, I call it how can you create a product as a service? So that's one. 2, how can you create reusable framework components from a business lens, right? For example, different aspects of the plan, make, source, deliver decisions, which you can potentially reuse and expand across, say, multiple business groups of an organization, right? That's 2. And point number 3 is just the data aspects, right? How can you build reusable components, say in MLOps, say in data ingestion, data modeling, to actually scale across the organization. So in each of these 3 dimensions, right, product as a service, reusable business-facing components, which can be used by multiple business groups or even multiple regions in a company, right? And 3, data components, which can be reused across the company horizontally as well, right? Those would be key components of the framework, which I will actually recommend.
Absolutely. No, makes sense. Danny, from coming from a digital strategy perspective, I thought this was an interesting question. Is digital supply chain the same as AI? How do you think about that? And how do you start to use that, that perspective to help, take advantage of AI within those digital capabilities or digital supply chain capabilities?
Yeah, so thank you for that question. So Unilever is actually several years into our digital transformation and really redefining what end-to-end supply chain means and fully fusing our tech and operations teams as part of our strategy to power operations. And AI is a crucial part of that. So we're really using AI to advance towards this strategy by really having an end-to-end view of the value chain, having data as one version of the truth, digitizing our operations. So really looking at AI in different areas. So that is also, I saw a question more on the 3-year priorities from now. It's really on digitizing our operations and implementing AI in planning, logistics, but also our factories. And as well, the partnerships, really linking in with our customer connectivity, the Sky example, which we've mentioned, and extend the value chain beyond our borders, actually.
Perfect. There's been some, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, you go.
No? Okay. Saurabh, this is for you, and this comes up quite a bit, especially since, many of us have been on an AI journey for quite some time. So from a Unilever's perspective, how much would you say is, weighted towards discriminative AI versus generative AI? And maybe I'd like to add to this too, like, where do you see this trending for you?
Right. So what we believe is, the journey of AI started long back with, classical machine learning, and then we see that it evolved to, deep learning, neural networks, and now we are seeing generative AI and discriminative AI. What we believe is that these systems are going to, come together over the next couple of years, and we would have an integrated AI systems. So this is where the impact of the AI systems to our business would be the most. And from a supply chain perspective, we believe that the combination of these systems, they do play a unique role in their own ways. And the combination of these systems is going to help us create autonomous end-to-end connected supply chain operations. And this is where it will unlock significant productivity. Yeah, so that's our view in terms of how do we see all these systems coming together and impacting us in a big way.
Sagar, maybe this is a question for you. How do you link a financial metric to an operational metric? And can you provide an example here?
Yeah, no, a good question, right? So let's say a financial metric is something like, margin, right? An operational metric is something like turns. And, this 2x2 of, turns to, if you put turns on an x-axis and operating margin on the y-axis, that's actually a classic supply chain excellence metric, right? And if you see post-COVID, as companies have been recovering, many of these companies have been moving in the wrong direction of the 2x2. And there have been efforts to move in the right direction. Now, if you break that down into how can we help solve this problem for them, right? That would be all of those white space problems I was talking about, right? So if you improve your freight forecasts, for example, and different companies have different problems because over a period of time, supply chain has been optimized in different dimensions, right? Sometimes you optimize for inventory, sometimes you optimize for transportation. So there is no one solution fits all. So we have to diagnose what's the real state of the supply chain in a given CPG. But those granular problems like freight, labor, inventory movement, stock levels, prediction, detecting and prediction. When we are able to go into the details and figure out which of the problem really needs to be solved to achieve, let's say, balancing the golden triangle of a supply chain excellence, then we can actually link the right operational metric to the right financial metric and get the job done for our customers.
Absolutely. So I know we've hit the top of the hour and there's been a ton of amazing questions. I really want to thank Sagar, Dannie, Saurabh, all for joining today.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Yeah, that is all the time we have today. And a thank you again to our speakers and to those of you who joined us for this conversation. Just a reminder, if we didn't get to your question, that it will be answered later via email. So we appreciate all of our audience's participation today. As a reminder, today's presentation will be available on demand and a link will be sent to you after the webinar. Have a great day, everybody.
Thank you. Bye-bye.